about canonly the first MCU movie. What is it, Drew?
The First Avenger, Captain America.
Heroes in the sky, making villains cry. They're saving the day with a wink to the eye. With powers combined, they'll never say die. In this Marvel world, we can all fly high.
Hey! I have to say, Gym Teacher Galactus has to be one of my favorite ones.
Black Panther on ice skates.
I mean, grilling Ghost Rider is pretty dope himself.
That one's cool, but the funniest one to me is Black Panther ice skates.
Why? You don't think Wakandans can ice skate? Are you trying to get us canceled already?
No, it's just the premise alone is funny.
So, today, guys, we're going to have shielded shenanigans with the only two podcasts where grown-ass men can get overly emotional about super soldiers, Tiny Steve Rogers, and the Red Skull's skincare routine.
Does he have one? I don't think he has one, which I think is why he looks the way he does.
I don't know, man. I think he may have stayed out in the sun a little too much. And, let's be honest. If I had a nickel for every time I've heard in the last 20 years somebody say, I could do this all day, and if they actually won the fight, I would actually be able to build my own vibranium shield. But
that's true.
We're going to get into it. So, 2011, Drew.
Man, where was I?
Do you remember seeing this movie?
I do. I do remember in the theater seeing this. I was very excited for this.
What was the scenario of you watching this? Who'd you go with? What do you remember about it?
Let's see, 2011. I was still probably working at Twilight Comics in Shiloh, Illinois at the time, and we probably did a screening for it that Friday night. We probably had a booth set up. So I was talking to a lot of people, and finally got to watch the movie and enjoy it, and it was fun.
Now, for those of you who are too old or too young to remember, but back in the day, Thursday would turn into Friday right at midnight. And back then, it wasn't these Thursday. Right. But movie-wise, you had to wait for that 12 o'clock hit, then the movie theaters would play the movie. And there was a little bit of an instance in Aurora, Colorado, where some psychopath dressed up as the Joker decided to shoot up The Dark Knight Rises, and we kind of benefited from it, if you ask me, because now we have these Thursday night showings. Some places start them right at noon. Yeah. Nothing is ever really on that late anymore unless it's a very special thing. So it was the midnight showing. Me and my buddy Matt, he had one of his buddies from work, and my buddy Matt loves what I like to call The Notebook with Nazis and abs. So, let's get into this plot. Tiny Steve, big heart. So when we meet Steve Rogers, looking like he's one sneeze away from dying in a dust storm.
Yeah, he looks like he can blow him right over.
So CGI Skinny Steve, he's a wild man. His neck says library card, but his voice says, I'm going to punch Hitler, which is a little bit of a throwback to his origin, because World War II, they needed to bring back somebody who could really bring America together. Who could, some may say, assemble the whole nation together as one.
Well done.
So they brought back this old character, and now we have what some would say America's ass from it. But the CGI here, granted it was almost 15 years ago, little Steve looks great. And do you know how they did it?
I do kind of remember. Did they film him next to somebody and then impose his head on it or something?
Yeah, they actually used a different actor, and then they used digital effects to graft Chris Evans' head onto it, and then they used Photoshop to smaller it so he looked smaller.
Smaller it?
Yeah. Which means somewhere out there, there's a guy out there who, for a small period of time, full-time job was to be pre-super serum Chris Evans. So like, there's some little skinny dude like walking around like, yeah, I was Captain America. It was me. I was the one.
Whatever.
And then we learn right away, dude. Steve's got the heart of a lion, the body of a soggy breadstick, but he tries to listen to the army like 5 times. He was committed to dying for his country. They wouldn't even let him buy a beer at the time. Like, dude's lying about his age. He's going to all these different things. So then we had Dr. Erskine, played by the always vaguely drunk-sounding Stanley Tucci. Like, the Tooch doesn't even look like the Tooch in this movie. Like, he looks older in this 2011 movie than he does in 2025. And he's looking at Steve Rogers. He sees him try to get in at the World's Fair. And he goes, "You're weak. You're pathetic. You look like you get bullied a lot. I think it's time to make you a hottie." And then we get that wonderful super serum scene. What do you remember about the first time you saw this and everything? How they put it all together?
If I remember, I don't really remember so much as just being happy that we were finally getting superhero movies on a consistent basis. I'm actually watching Cap right now. He's at the part where he's getting his butt kicked in the alleyway where he can do this all day.
Oh, the first time we get that iconic overplayed line over and over again. So we get that super serum steam. For me, after experiencing what was it, 1992's Captain America movie, the opening credits of this were already better. All right.
Yeah.
So then we got Steve hopping in a thing that looks like it was the original tanning bed.
But that Captain America from '92, I'm pretty sure was shot in Springfield, Ohio. So all's forgiven for me.
So if Ohio comes up with shit, it's okay.
Well, that's how do you explain the Cleveland Browns?
True, and I would say other things, but I don't want to cause beef between you and my uncle who lives and has season tickets to Wolverines games.
I'm sorry.
I'm not. So Steve hops in the standing bed.
How are you not sorry about going to Michigan? That's the worst state. There's only 48 states. New Jersey and Michigan don't count.
And there's only one that's got a hoe in it.
Yeah, Michigan.
Ohio.
No.
Oh, hi. Oh. And now we're arguing about states. What up? This is what happens when we live across the country from each other. And I'm repping states that I don't even live in because they have cool mascots. Anyways, so he gets in this tanning bed, and boom! My boy gets THICCCCCCC thick. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our introduction to America's ass. For the first time, we don't have that luscious peach without Dr. Erskine's scientific know-how. And that's what, ladies and gentlemen, stopped World War II, America's ass. End of our fucking rewatch. It's over. All right, so let's talk about the moment where Haley Atwell. Oh, Haley Atwell. It's honestly, for me, the British accent gets me every time, and she's a fucking 12 to begin with. So we'll talk about the scene where Steve comes out of the tanning bed, and he not only got tanner, he, as I previously said, added a couple C's to his thickness. And she looks at him.
Yeah, she's down with the
like,
all right.
Like, talk about DTF. Peggy's like, all right, we're open for business. Oh, little man, you're no longer little. So that whole thing wasn't even in the. So Haley Atwell had never seen Chris Evans without his shirt off. This was the first time. And that whole thing, that whole thirst trap, her caressing his chest, that every woman in America, when they first saw that scene, whispered to sweet little baby Jesus himself and said, amen. That was all her natural reaction to how hot Chris Evans is. And I have to say, fuck you, Chris Evans, for making guys like me and Drew feel like we're from
Why'd you
Ohio.
drag me into this?
Wait, what?
How did you drag me into that? I'm fine.
Easily. We're at package deal now, bro.
Oh, package.
Go on. But then, a Hydra spy infiltrates the lab, kills Erskine, proving once again, if you're not the hot guy in the lab, some Nazi's going to ruin your fun. Okay? So then
That's
we
the
had
moral
this.
of the story.
So then we had this awesome chase scene where Chris Evans is running through the streets of the 1940s New York City wearing the original Baby Gap outfit. And let me tell you, the whole city could have flooded right then, and Chris Evans' pants would have remained dry. Because my shit started below his knee. That's where his leg line was. But we get a little, like, teases when he picks up, like, the sewer thing and throws it, hits the guy. When he grabs the car door, rips it off and uses it as a shield. And he must have crazy calloused bottoms of his feet because no person is running on cement the way he was running on cement without literally, like, being just raw-footed at the bottom.
Well,
So,
he's super soldier now. He can do that.
well, that's what I was going to say. One of the things they never talk about that is a side effect of at least that version of the super soldier serum is increasingly durability on the bottom sides of your foot, which I think he doesn't even need boots at this point. If his feet are fine after that, he could kick
Right.
Thanos right in the fucking mouth and probably hurt Thanos more than he would hurt himself. So he's all pumped. He's got these powers. He's ready to get over there and kick Nazi ass. And then the army decides to use him as a mascot. And he's out there on a USO tour, punching fake Hitlers, dancing with chorus girls, selling war bonds, and acting like the world's most jacked propaganda machine.
And meeting Peter Quill's grandma.
Yes, and I like how they retcon that.
Yeah.
And right before she became famous, fucking Natalie Dormer's in here too, as the chick that hits on Chris Evans and makes Haley Atwell jealous.
Yep.
Which, Natalie Dormer, smoke show, but hey, Peggy, baby, you got nothing to be jealous about.
Nope.
Like, no. It's hilarious, but it's also depressing. It's like putting Rambo on a TED Talk. I don't know. It just
Better than Rambo.
So then Steve finds out while he's on this USO tour that a group got captured by these Nazis, and then he realizes it's his good friend James Buchanan Barnes, a.k.a. Bucky, who we met earlier in the alley when he saved Steve's ass. It's his group, and what's their nickname, Joseph?
Ow!
The Howling Commandos, which originally is a group that was led by Nicholas Joseph Fury the first. But because of actual timelines, they couldn't use him. So it was kind of Bucky's team, Cap, and I know I've mentioned this before. I don't know if I've done it on air, but this version of Cap's uniform with the fucking BDU pants, the cap top, the motorcycle kind of helmet over the mask is my favorite. I love this fit. Like, it is awesome. And it's almost like Punisher-esque to me. That's what it kind of reminds me of with the BDUs on, but with the superhero top. It's like good Punisher. Like, you know he's gonna punish you, but he's not going to sever your head from your throat.
Who did have an actual Captain America outfit at one point.
Yes, he did. And it was interesting. And there was the Iron Man version too, when he got his own War Machine outfit. And then we get this crazy montage, flamethrowers, motorbikes, punching robots. And then we get the first meeting after Cap saves Bucky, who we kind of see experimented on. We're not sure what's going on. Those of us who knew at the time knew what seed had been planted at that point. And Cap looks right at Hugo Weaving in the face, and there's an explosion, so you see a little... Is that a seam on his face? What is going on there? And then he proceeds to rip off his skin, very similarly to the way I see his feet skin after that original scene. And then we find Voldemort sunburned, looking at him like, yeah, I just spent a week and a half in Florida and I forgot the SPF. Like,
forgot all of it.
I was blown away by this because it looks like skin. It looks moist. The redness looks like it has been hydrated very, very well. So back to his skincare routine, even though it's miscolored, and here we're a colorblind podcast here. All right, guys, we don't see colors, whether you're red or white or lime
I see all
green.
sorts of colors. What are you talking about?
Right, but I don't distinguish people by them. But with that being said, this red motherfucker is scary looking.
Yeah.
Like, they crushed it. They did a great job. And, fun fact, Hugo Weaving hated this part. And he said he would never come back. And he stuck by that because in Endgame, we see somebody else who looks like a skull talking with a vague German accent. So, Hugo, thank you for your time. You're a big dummy.
I think he made it.
So then
he's only been a part of like The Matrix and Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, he's a loser. He's done nothing with his life. What accomplishment have you had, Hugo Weaving? What have you done for this world and for people like me? Wait, so say what you just said, Drew.
Only The Matrix and Lord of the Rings, and he's a martial artist, I think.
Oh, so he has done stuff?
Yeah, just a couple things.
Okay, all right. Well, step your game up, Mr. Hugo.
Yeah.
So now, Drew, I want to talk about Bucky. He's Steve's best friend. Ride or die.
Buckaroo.
And they've been together since they were knee-high, and then Steve stayed knee-high. And Bucky grew to a regular adult size, and then he got hot. And then Steve was like, what the fuck? I gotta take drugs to get hot? Like, it's that constant FOMO feeling. Yeah. And then we get this crazy montage of them doing all these missions. You got fucking, what's his face playing Dum Dum Dugan?
I don't know what the guy's name is, but yeah.
I know his name. He's been in everything. He was in Arrow, he was in Justified. Oh, what the fuck is his name? I'm gonna look it up. Stand by. It is. Let's see if I can remember it before I pull it up. I don't. He played Damien Dark. Not Damien Ark. Damien Dark. Damien Dark. Neil McDonnell. That's who it is.
Oh, yeah. That was on the tip of my tongue.
Let's see. Film-wise, he was in Darkman, 1990. Where he played the very memorable Dock Worker number 2. 4 years later, he followed it up with the Disney classic Angels in the Outfield. 96, Star Trek First Contact. Then he was in Minority Report. He was the bad guy in Walking Tall. I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Who else we got? Oh, he was in Street Fighter, The Legend of Chun-Li. He played Bison in that. I forgot about that.
Oof.
What else we got? He was in Paul Blart Mall Cop 2. Sonic the Hedgehog. He was in 2. I know him from the last decade, mostly from TV shows. What's the big one? Quantum Leap he was on back in the day.
Oh, I love Quantum Leap.
He was in 2 episodes of X-Files.
I love X-Files.
I do too. Actually, that was one of the shows we both watched when we were kids.
That's probably my favorite show of all time.
We had Justified. Suits, he was in 17 episodes. Oh, I never knew this. So, okay. there was an Agent Carter spinoff of this movie. 2 seasons. Did you watch?
No.
I watched. They were actually great. He, in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and in Agent Carter, he reprises his role of Dum Dum Dugan.
Makes sense.
He was, that's Neil McDowell. And thank you, Neil, for your
commitment to the ball.
Yeah.
Hugo.
Yeah. And so, with that being said, we go now to the train scene, Drew. And this is
which is funny because it just pulled up to the train scene for me.
Right. And let me tell you, so in the comics, there is a nuclear bomb being sent. Bucky gets attached to it. The only way that it can get disarmed is he's got to stay attached, and he dies.
Yep.
And then, well, I won't get into what happened years and years later because that's going to play out real time in the MCU. So then you see him fall from this train. You have this huge fight scene. It's beautiful. And then he falls what I'm guessing is 1,000 feet down to the bottom of this giant gully, and we see dead Bucky.
Or do we?
Oh, what could you possibly mean by that, Joseph? So, with that being said,
I think movie magic.
I don't know, man. Like, it just, you know what's coming if you're us. Yeah. And it just, I remember, like, hearing people, like, in the movie theater, like, oh, man, like, he's dead? Oh. So then, I don't know. I felt that, even though I knew what was coming.
Yeah.
It still hurt a little bit. I don't know. So, Steve blamed himself for that day. And he went from, dude, Bucky had his back all the time. And then he's just like, without powers. And then he's just like, oh, you're falling because the Nazis threw you into a gorge.
Don't worry, they'll circle back around for him.
No, go. Oh, okay. And then we get the climax, all right? Cap fights the Red Skull on a giant death plane with bombs labeled New York. Like they had to like label the mail or something. Like it's like who does that? All right. Whoa, Drew. This is the Los Angeles one. The New York one needs to go over there.
Said New Jersey or Michigan. That's
I'd
have been on board with that.
So they're fighting. They're boom, 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 and the Red Skull finally has the Tesseract, which we saw earlier when we were introduced to a little Nazi scientist by the name of R.M. Zola, which, when we talk about the next Captain America movie, we're going to talk about him too. Good old TV face.
Yep.
And he's been experimenting. Like, the Tesseract it's kind of been, especially in the first phase, the MCU's MacGuffin. Like, nothing happens without the Tesseract.
Correct.
And this is all the Red Skull wants. It's the MCU's version of the Cosmic Cube, if you know what that is. So the Red Skull finally has it in his hands, and he sees it. And then he gets a weird look on his face, and he gets vaporized away. We think he's dead. Do we? I didn't. Did you, Drew?
No way.
The cube burns through the plane, which is something I didn't understand. We see the Tesseract all throughout Phase 1.
Okay.
It's been set down. It's been put everywhere. Never have we seen it like had this nuclear power where it's just shredding down through shit. Like I never understood that part. Never got it.
No, Bucky.
So then Steve, he's on the plane. He realizes this thing's gonna crash, and the only way he can stop New York from being destroyed is to crash this plane, because guess what? You're in the middle of Arctic tundra and there's no parachute. So he gets on the radio and he talks to Peggy, and you have this moment that they know that they fucked up by not just when they had the chance. They've had multiple chances all these years, and now Peggy is going to become a dried up old maid because the love of her life is gone. And Steve falls in the ice.
Speaking about
and then he opens his eyes. and wakes up
Where is he?
in a 1940s hospital room.
But wait,
And
there's
the radio's playing, and he's listening to this Brooklyn Dodgers game, and he realizes me and Bucky were at that game. And I don't know about you guys, but in 1940s, there was no, like, podcast or replay. So Steve busts out of this room. And little does he realize he's in S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters. He's in the middle of, like, Times Square. And Nick Fury's like, hey,
don't do that.
we're 70 years later. Like, you're 70 years older, bruh. And we got to do some shit. All right? So, it's just... He wakes up in modern times, and when he delivers the line, I had a date.
Yeah.
Every girl in that place cried. Every guy was like, I know, I remember it. And Chris Evans completely improvised that line, too. He just slid it in there because he knew that he could slide into every single woman on the planet's DMs at that moment.
As he did.
He's hot. He's emotionally available. He's loyal. Like, willing to sacrifice himself for what he believes in.
Loyal for sure.
So, let's go to our favorite segment here. We find out whether or not Captain America, the First Avenger, hits as hard as a vibranium shield to the face. With our wonderful grading scale that steals the CGC's grading scale. And we have poor, which is a 1 or 2. A good, that's a 3 to 5. A fine, which is 6 to 8. Near mint, which is 9. And the illustrious gem mint, which is a perfect 10. Drusuf, where do you put the sumbitch at?
I had this at a near mint.
Ooh. And I have to say, yeah, it's easy 9. It's a top 10 movie.
Yeah.
And until we get to next week, which is 2008's original OG MCU movie, Captain America, the winner, or not, we're talking about this. Iron Man, sorry. I consume
Iron Man, the winner. Wait, that's not right.
So, right now, my ranking is Captain America, First Avenger, number 1. Captain Marvel, number 2. What about you,
Ditto.
Drew?
Ditto.
All right, guys, remember, stay jacked and fight for justice. And remember, if somebody ever punches you in an alley, just yell, I can do this all day, and you're probably still going to lose. Okay?